All right, we have new details tonight surrounding the South Side explosion. 1 year ago, that explosion ripped through the Richmond Hill neighborhood, leaving a husband and wife dead and dozens of homes damaged or destroyed. Now, new video, first seen in our Call 6 Investigator special this evening, may become a part of the criminal investigation. In fact, our special was the first time authorities became aware of that video. Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez joins us now with a story you will see only on RTV6.
So, Todd, let's talk about that video tonight. We're talking about a total of 20 seconds of video in which home security cameras provided a new look at that blast. A law enforcement source tells me authorities want to examine these recordings. The blast aftershock was recorded on 2 surveillance cameras from a home which is 8 houses down from the explosion site. One camera there in the living room, another one right there in the kitchen. Police are now working with the homeowner to get the videos to determine if these images can assist them with the criminal cases. The 3 suspects don't have another court appearance until December the 4th. Now that all 3 will have a chance at their own trial, the original trial date for June 2014, and that may not hold. Of the 3 suspects, Mark Ray Leonard is also facing a trial, accused of attempting to hire a hitman to kill a witness who apparently could connect him to the Richmond Hill explosion. That witness was not a homeowner, but an alleged acquaintance. The Marion County prosecutor told us that his office is prepared to handle multiple trials, and Todd, that means he has assigned about a half-dozen deputy prosecutors to deal with all the potential cases.
All right, nice work with everything you've done so far. A long way to go in this still.
We will continue to follow this all the way through.
All right, Rafael, thanks. We have big new details tonight surrounding that church bus crash that killed 3 members of the Colonial Hills Baptist Church.
Inspectors confirm they took another look at the brakes for the bus involved in that accident. Tonight, our Call 6 investigators have new details on those inspections. Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez joins us now with the very latest.
Todd and Erica, good evening. The news just went out in an RTV6 push alert. Sources tell me that initial inspections show that the bus's brake system was fine. That's the sound of a brake when a driver stops a charter bus. Investigators have been focused on the brake system of this bus, belonging to Colonial Hills Baptist Church. Police say the driver of the bus, Dennis Maurer, told them that the brakes failed while returning from a camp trip in Michigan. 3 people and an unborn baby were killed. While a church family mourns, it's the mechanics of the bus that have also been top of mind for state police. We wanted to give you an idea at what state police investigators are looking at. This bus here is similar to the one involved in that crash. It also has a similar braking system. In the underbelly, investigators have been looking at the axles, the brake pads, and push rods that help a bus stop and go. Sources tell the Call 6 investigators that an initial review of the charter bus shows that its brake system was working on July 27th. That would be consistent with what church leaders told us as they defended their bus's maintenance record hours after the crash.
I can assure you that the people responsible for that were, I would trust them with my life.
Thank you. So within the next 2 weeks, we should get the state's preliminary crash report detailing the official cause of that crash. That report will be reviewed by the Marion County Prosecutor's Office, which is customary in these types of situations.
And then what about the final report?
We're expecting that final report up to maybe 6 months, possibly, because investigators are now waiting for the toxicology report on the driver. And that test is also a common procedure in these types of accidents.
All right, thanks for following up on this, Rafael.
To the day's other big stories, including the surprise announcement today from the federal prosecutor's office that it will not file criminal charges against former Marion County prosecutor Carl Brizzi.
The Call 6 investigators broke that story at noon, and now our Rafael Sanchez has got an exclusive reaction from Carl Brizzi. Let's go live to Rafael at Indianapolis International Airport. Rafael?
Erica and Todd, good evening. Only on RTV6, former Marion County prosecutor Carl Brizzi is speaking out. He believes that he was vindicated today, saying that the truth has prevailed. Before boarding a flight here at Indianapolis International, he had this to say exclusively to the Call 6 investigators.
But we've been under a constant cloud for the last 3 years of people either believing or assuming that we've acted unethically or illegally, and it's been tough for me, for my family, since I've left the prosecutor's office. And so what we said today is what we've always known, is that we've done nothing wrong, And now, after 3 years and millions of dollars of taxpayers' money, apparently, Joe Hogsett and the U.S. Attorney's Office came to the same conclusion.
Federal investigators were focused on his practices while he was the Marion County prosecutor, a job that Mr. Brizzi held for about 8 years. That investigation went for about 3 years. The U.S. Attorney's Office was looking into whether Brizzi received money in exchange for favors for people facing criminal charges and jail time. U.S. Attorney Joe Hogsett said he did not have the evidence to support a conviction. He released this statement early this afternoon, saying in part, there is not sufficient evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Brizzi committed the crime of bribery and sustained a conviction. Now, I spoke to Mr. Brizzi for about 5 to 10 minutes about almost everything. We'll have much more of our exclusive discussion coming up on the news at 7 at the top of the hour. Reporting live on the city's west side at Indianapolis International, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
All right, we'll see you again in about an hour, Rafael.
The criminal cases are a constant reminder of the sights and sounds impossible to forget. A night when people ran from the flames and held on to faith and family. The moonlight's surrender to daylight lets Christina Hunter run while the crickets roar.
For me, running has always been a thankful exercise.
It's her time to re-energize and reflect on a year that took an unexpected twist.
A lot of people thought an airplane had crashed into the neighborhood.
Christina and her family have lived in Richmond Hill for 4 years. Their house was one of 125 homes in the neighborhood that stood before 11:11 p.m. on November the 10th, 2012. On that night, few knew the house at 8349 Fieldfair Way was filling up with gas. Next door, at 8343 Fieldfair, the Olvey family was hanging out in the living room area. Glenn Olvey did not umpire softball as usual that day and spent the night with his wife and 2 teenage daughters. Across the street, at 8330, 2 cakes were cooling off for a church celebration the next day. Michelle Smith plays piano at worship service and planned on watching some Saturday Night Live. But at 8336 Fieldfair, something strange was happening in Mavis Byers' home. She began videotaping her usually tame poodle. Snuggles was jumping on the furniture and running to their front door. Mavis now thinks her dog could smell the gas that was building up across the street. Down the street at 3953 Towhees Drive, Doug Aldridge had just finished watching the Notre Dame game. At 4012 Armada Drive, it was time to go to bed. Ben and Leslie Melvin had spent most of the evening at a fundraising gala at the Armory in Franklin. Next door at 4018 Armada Drive is where Christina lives with her husband Nick and their 2 children Molly and Jackson. They were not home at 11:11. That's when 8349 Fieldfair Way shattered into pieces. It was the unthinkable.
We've got 1 house down, we have 2 others severely damaged, and possibly 2 others minor.
Christina and her family were camping in Johnson County. Once they heard what was unfolding in their neighborhood, they turned to their smartphones to pull up their security cameras.
We could see the smoke, we could see, we could hear people, and then all of a sudden it went dark.
They'd installed cameras months earlier due to an attempted robbery. So for the first time, we now see and hear the boom and flash of light that forced many people out of their homes. The shockwave burst their front door open and rattled their entire house. Another camera in the kitchen captured this. In the aftermath, $74,000 in structural damage.
For me, it was a holy cow moment. It was an eye-opener.
Their surveillance system would also record their neighbors, who instead of just running away, stopped to check in on their well-being.
Hello? Anybody home? Anybody home? Please tell me if you're home. Hello?
That was something.
That neighbor, Ben Melvin, Before fleeing from the flames visible from his home's picture window, Ben ran to the hunter's home.
I just, made sure that my family was okay, and I knew that obviously someone needed help.
Hello?
I
don't even know why I did it. I just did.
I can say that we are blessed. Not only because we got to see that kind of spirit and that kind of courage, but we're blessed because through this we've gotten to know even more of our neighbors that go to and rush in and don't run away.
Christina's route, her routine, provide daily reminders, though it's never easy to pass the property where her neighbors died.
We mourn. We mourn for their families. We mourn for, that's a loss, an unimaginable loss.
So she runs, not from what happened, but to what lies beyond the horizon. Time. In an emergency, time is the enemy, especially when every second that ticks counts against the police and paramedics making the response.
Time is not an option a lot of times.
Up until now, first responders in Lawrence did not have a quick or efficient way of communicating with people who speak little or no English. The city is the only one in the state using this mobile translating device.
This conversation may be monitored and recorded. Esta conversación va a estar automáticamente grabada.
The black box connects first responders to Minnesota-based RTT. The company provides translation services in 180 languages.
We have an actual opportunity to understand things at real-time speed, and that makes a difference between life and death.
Especially on medical runs involving strokes and heart attacks.
Waiting for a translator takes time. Trying to relay from somebody over the telephone, as an example, takes time. We don't have that much time when there is a patient that needs to be transported.
We went on patrol with Officer David Gordon. Dispatchers sent him to a crime victim who spoke little English. Turning on his mobile translator, Gordon was able to begin asking questions within a minute.
This is Carrie, your Spanish interpreter. How may I assist you?
I'm here with Maria. She has a report for a stolen license plate. I'm just going to ask her basic questions to get information for a report.
Muy buenas, mi nombre es Carrie. Voy a hacer la intérprete.
For the first time, Gordon worked a situation where he had no concerns about the language barrier.
Get better information. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing for us. Even subtle things that you can pick up on makes us more effective at our job.
2 weeks ago, during this major apartment fire, the device was also on duty. While firefighters focused on containing the flames, public safety officials used the mobile translator to ease tenants' fears and detail what they could expect next.
I'm on scene of a fire right now. Can you let them know that the Red Cross is here to help them?
Mi nombre es Silvia, soy la intérprete que les ayudará con la oficial. Estamos en la escena del incendio, la Cruz Roja va a venir a ayudarles.
Everybody understand?
¿Me entienden?
Okay.
Cindy Morris Downs works with immigrant groups. She says at least 90 languages are spoken in Marion County alone.
When they're speaking in a language that's foreign to them, it's very difficult, especially in a crisis situation, for them to be able to enunciate what their needs are.
It was a no-brainer. We need to be able to communicate with all of our citizens, not just in that emergency situation.
And it's in the neighborhoods of Lawrence where police hope the talking boxes can play a key role in building positive relationships.
Have you had any problems while you worked here?
¿Ha tenido algún problema trabajando aquí?
No. ¿Qué piensa usted de la policía tener este equipo de máquina que lo dejan hablar con las personas que hablan español durante emergencias? What do you think of these machines that allow the Lawrence Police Department to speak to people during emergencies?
Bueno, yo pienso que es un buen programa, se le puede decir.
So you think it's a good program?
Day or night, no matter the language.
Thanks.
Thanks for using our services.
The goal is to make sure calls for help never get lost in translation.